CJ here at San Diego Comic-Con 2019. I am here with
Tom Bilyeu of Impact Theory.
Cool. So, Neon Future, how did you come upon you and Steve Aoki kind of collaborating on this?
So I have an interview show called Impact Theory, and he was a guest on the show. And while I was researching him, came across the fact that when he dies, he plans to be cryogenically frozen. And I thought, all right, that's pretty rad. Somebody that is not even going to take death laying down. So I thought, what would the world look like if somebody with Steve's level of compassion actually could resurrect somebody using technology? So that gave me the idea. I pitched it to Steve. He loved it. And we then brainstormed, built out the characters, built out the world, and then brought on Jim Krueger, who's an Eisner award-winning writer, to help us actually turn it into a comic. And it's been an extraordinary collaboration.
Yeah, because I like the art style of it. It's very kind of manga-ish a little bit. Was that kind of like the concept of what y'all wanted to go for this?
Well, we definitely have some hardcore Asian influences, as you would imagine, working with my man, Mr. Aoki, that's going to creep its way in there. We've got some more books in the future that have a very strong manga influence, so I'll call this one sort of manga light. But we've got some more stuff coming out. But yeah, he and I both respond to a very similar art style.
Yeah. For you being in this comic industry and stuff, I've always felt like the digital market kind of allows more of a kind of like a bigger audience to kind of come into it versus hardcover, just actually physically reading it. So in your opinion, what is your opinion of kind of the digital market for comic books right now?
So our thing is #StealThisComic. So we want people to read it. We want it to get out as far and wide as humanly possible. There actually isn't a huge paying market for digital comics, much to my dismay. But for everyone that gets paid for and read, you probably have 1.5 to 2 that are pirated. So you can build a lot of awareness, which I'm all for. That's fine. I want the awareness, I want the fan base, I want people amped up and excited about the project. So we've tried to really facilitate just breadth, getting it out there as far as we can.
Cool. So crafting the story and stuff, what is kind of the first thing that you guys kind of start off with doing this, especially with kind of a high concept story that this is?
Yeah, the first thing is that moment of inspiration, right? Where you get that idea hey, what does the world look like if Steve Aoki could bring people back from the dead with technology? That's high level. It's not going to get you very far. You've got to then really sit down and put pen to paper and start coming up with the characters and their arcs and what's their, I forget the guy who came up with this phrase, but I love it. Their fear, limitation, block, or wound. What's that sickness inside of them that drives them? And pinning that down for each of the characters and then setting them on a course and just watching how they collide and crash into each other and getting that high seas drama. So it's very much a process. Then you go into the concept art, and it's interesting how having to make decisions about what they look like will inform how they behave. So that whole process is a lot of fun. And then it's outlining and writing.
So it's kind of based on basic story one-on-one kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, doing art style for this and stuff, like you said, it goes into the whole thing of crafting the story. How do you guys go about doing the action for this? Is it kind of set up kind of here's where kind of one character kind of do this and do that in this fight scene?
Yeah, as a writer, I happen to be particularly freakish about saying, okay, in this panel they need to look like this, and I'll go, to Pinterest or whatever and grab images and stuff and really try to build it out, because I find that oftentimes it can be very confusing in a comic as to what exactly is happening because they're trying to do it in so few panels. And so that's one thing I will say that we're a little closer to manga on. Our books are a lot longer so that we can really let action play out so that you can see it developing. You get the whole, the cinematic nature of manga brought into this where the moments build, they breathe. As with everything in media and stuff, everybody's trying to do live action versions of these things. And I remember seeing this and I was like, this could fit for a live action if it did get optioned. For you, if it ever got optioned, would you want to actually be a part of that whole process and stuff, considering this is something that you crafted to an extent? Yeah, so that's the whole point of doing all of this. So the reason that we're #StealThisComic is because what we're trying to do is build community around the properties so that we can turn them into film and TV. It's just, as a medium, it reaches so many more people. And our goal is mass impact. So we want to get out there and touch as many people as we can. So yeah, being involved in the translation would be very important to us.
Because we always talk about people, they say, hey, build your own do those things. Do you feel building your own has like a set of challenges compared to just something that's already established?
Yeah, for sure. If you're picking up something that's already established and you're just paying some money for it, you've short-circuited the process in some cases by a decade or more. But you don't have the control. You don't have as much of the upside. So for me, telling the story, telling the kinds of stories I want to tell, which is why this company exists, is to tell one kind of story from 1,000 different angles, which is stories of the hero's journey, of really discovering what you're capable of, and that's the only reason this company exists. So controlling the core story is beyond important to us.
So like for all the characters that are in the book, are they kind of informed based on your lead character, or do they all have like kind of different motivations just individually?
Yeah, I mean, if you're telling a real story, your characters are going to have individual personalities, hopes, wants, desires. So this is, very much a collection of people that are after their own things. And what we're watching is exactly how those competing agendas cause all kinds of problems.
I guess lastly, as you said, you collaborated with Aoki and stuff. If you had to do something past this, like another book, what is kind of like the one book that you actually want to create after this, that you really kind of have your heart set on wanting to do?
Yeah, so we have a couple more collaborations coming with different celebrities, which we're really excited about.
And you can name?
Not yet, but we'll be making some big announcements at New York Comic Con. So I don't know if you go there or not, but we'll be making some noise there. And then as far as like just fantasy, nothing that's on the horizon in any way, shape, or form, but what would be a fantasy, doing something with The Rock would be pretty extraordinary. His mindset is so perfect, and his megaphone is just unbelievably large.
Yeah, because I mean, to be honest with you, this looks like something that you can see like Keanu Reeves actually being in a little bit and stuff, so it's like, this actually looks pretty dope. So.
Man, if Keanu's listening, let me tell you, I'd do something with him in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
And this guy is like John Wick 50.
He is everywhere, and he's extraordinary.
I mean, definitely. But yeah, thanks for taking time to talk to us and stuff. I definitely can't wait to actually read through all this and stuff and enjoy it. So.
Awesome, I hope you love it.
Oh, definitely.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks.